to ray marching here. Um, the the solution that I had with the solution I had with using a heterogeneous volume it'll be really nice for like a gas wrapped nebula component or something like that. Um, but the problem is it doesn't scale properly because I think it's using like world units somewhere in its internals instead of having everything be relative to the volume. So when I scale it up to like a billion units in width, all of a sudden we get pretty serious issues with rendering, and you lose the lighting bonuses that it was getting, where it would like receive lighting from point lights and things like that. Which we never really super needed for this anyway. This is supposed to like basically form a background skybox and like dust rings around galaxies and things like that. So the lighting is almost always going to be relative to the actor center. Like you could just assume that the center of the actor is where the most light is coming from because in the state of a universe it makes sense, and in the state of a galaxy it makes sense. So basically, I'm going back to my ray marching solution because as you can see here, I have a ray marching box that is 4.3 billion units wide, which is the scale of basically our octree for the universe. So with this one, we are able to create a hang on. With this one, we're able to create one that is scaled appropriately for what I want it to do. And there's like some downsides that we can probably refine out of it. Like you can kind of see the jitter a little bit. But I do think that those are probably things I can overcome and not really the end of the world, even if I can't. You can especially see it like when I get out here and I'm fading out. It's like it becomes pretty apparent. But assuming you were going slow, it's not actually too bad. And like even going pretty like this would be very fast travel for from like the game perspective. We'd be flying through the universe extremely quickly here. And we can also turn this up and maybe turn this down and get a little bit less jitter when we do that. Maybe. If I do 0 here, we can see the actual density voxels for the universe. And like obviously we would have different color determinations for like the universe coloration. We would probably have to introduce some other sample to determine the color position, but it could also be like a lower number of samples overall. Because like our universe is going to need more than two textures, and we could also fade out and only show part of the universe cloud at a time, or maybe have inside the material itself determine like your position in the overall local space and like tint based on that to get different colored regions of space. Just trying to find a good scale for distortion here. So yeah, I think we're back to using the freaking raymarchers, unfortunately. The heterogeneous volume has some really cool features, but this is like, and it may turn out that doing like a level 64 density map, it actually works better. Because like at least here, this is nicer than the higher resolution. Because like the higher resolution is picking out more like individual small clusters of stars, whereas like going a lower resolution with it may actually work better. And this is actually really nice because I can, and like I mean, it also should be. If we do that, then we should be able to change our steps with no problem. So maybe this is the way. I want to try something with the light vector. Okay, so that's the x-axis. Okay, so yeah, right now our light direction is facing inward. So at 0.5, 0.5, 0.5, we're basically pointing to the center of the box component. Um, but it should actually probably be outward. So all we gotta do is this, and now it should have the lit color. Yes, there it is. Okay, that's what we want. Now our lit color is on the inside, and our in shadow color is on the outside. That sort of makes sense. And then we can move it around. Okay, so x-axis. Okay, so at least our color, our lighting is static with this, so that at least is correct. Just trying to get this centered. So, over to the right, over to the left, to the middle. And then likewise from this axis, middle. And then from this axis, middle. And now, okay, now it's almost right. And this is x-axis. Alright, why again?
It's like nobody in the movie knows each other. People who are siblings, friends, like enemies, people who see me in the movie.
Okay, and then
There's no chemistry between literally anybody. They could all be filmed on green screen on separate days, entirely
God
separate
damn it.
locations. Before he said these sets were amazing, I'm like, it could just be green screen. They went to Greenland. Extreme conditions. Okay, have I?
I think that we actually have a problem in our raymarcher setup.
Exception. You don't get a choice in that. He just is. The face that they leave on at the end, it's just like, I don't know whether it's confused or annoyed. It's sort of, or like, is like determined. It's such a weird shot to end on for this character that we've never seen again. Yeah, but no, but they probably would just like half-ass this one. They've got a better scene to end on, which is when General's like, well,
If I just make a float 3000, what happens?
you get it? So yeah, the budget of this film it only made 319 million, which did warrant a sequel. Why did was the sequels that take place over years? Because the animation takes place over months. That way, the characters would age up over years in real time, which kind of makes sense. There were plans in motion to make this happen because it made some money. So they went, "Oh, can we? You think? I mean, people, but some money though. Can we get away with it?" That's not exactly. There's just a guy in a room at any production studio, and they just open the door every once in a while. It's just like, I'm still. Let's
Why? Oh, derp. Yeah, that would cause a problem. So this would just be this.
what an absolute fucking disaster. This is the perfect example of just you couldn't have done this any worse. Every step that we took was in the wrong direction. Baffling. But at the same time, this happens quite a lot, doesn't it? It really does. And look, James, you are absolutely hysterical. I do not understand where you're coming from. As someone who hasn't seen the series, all I can say is that it filled me with the most positive sentiment I can think of this kind of movie, and I felt nothing. At any point, I did not feel anything. A series of scenes washed over me, and at the end, I'm not changed. So good for you, Hollywood. You've done it again.
Hmm. Why would that work in one case but not the other?
Nickelodeon knows not give the film any nominations at its 2011 Kids' Choice Awards, despite the fact that Airbender was a Nickelodeon film.
Yeah, I could literally just change the colors, I guess.
It's a really great video. You know what I say? I've been watch this video again. We got really great videos. Like it's people coming out of the cinema like big fans and they're all dressed up and they're like, what did you think? Every single person's like the worst. It sucked. It's terrible. It's horrible. I really didn't like it. It was the worst video I've ever seen. They couldn't have fucked that up more if they tried, which they seem to do. I don't know. It feels intentionally bad. I don't know. Just feel nothing like I do.
So what if we called
in addition to early videos, there's movie commentaries, there's video game let's plays, there's bonus podcasts, bunch of stuff going on there, isn't there, Mason? It's a grand old time over there. Do have a grand old time. Have a podcast with really enjoy doing some networks and TV shows. Swing by every Monday or other days of the week. It's still available there, so that's all right. Yeah. At your convenience. Yeah. Anyways, I'm Mr. Sunday Movies on Twitter. How dare they, Mason? How very much dare they? I'm not happy with it. Premium. Enjoy ad-free videos. Plus, the YouTube Music one subscription, 2 apps. Try one month free.
Food connects Mother Nature with culture. Bringing together the cultures that I love in food, that's innovation. Leave no flavor opportunity behind. Familiar, fun ingredients presented in a new way. Having bold tacos and keep you on the move. I was invited by Invesco QQQ to create 3 recipes inspired by the companies that meet here. This is Recipe for Innovation. You can consider fund investment objectives, risks, journeys, expenses, and more in prospectus at invesco.com.
Everybody to the return of Caravan Knowledge. Yes, we're well west. Yes, we are well west. We're well wested, James. Shut up, Mason. Shut up, Mason. Because we're here and we're very excited to be back and also to be talking about The Hobbit trilogy, 3 movies, Mason, somehow. Oh my god. Now, leading up to these movies, obviously, both of us were huge fans of Lord of the Rings, the movies, and both of us have read some of the books.
All right, let's think.
Delightful in what way? They're longer, but they're also wonderful, delightful. They're not going to be long in this version of The Hobbit, aren't they? Because it's way long. No, so I've seen the Lord of the Rings books, yeah, but I've never gone through Lord of the Rings books. I give it a crack every couple of years, and it gets to the scene I have to tap out, which is about 3 pages, honestly. But I have read The Hobbit in its entirety because it is way shorter and a breezier read.
We also have pretty nice control over lighting intensity here. Let's try to get.
I've seen previews before, and I don't know whether this can be any Jackson. This he's reluctantly back this season. Yeah, he's back on the series.
What we can do.
New line at Peter Jackson at the Tolkien estate, and MGM enters bankruptcy as they often do. I'm sure that's their defining character.
Change this to 64. I mean, that's good for us because that's just more efficient anyway. If it turns out that we can use a 64 by 64 volume texture for the universe gas cloud, then that's great. It just means that this step will execute faster and this step is slow. So that's good. Like, we still have to optimize this a lot. We have to figure out a way to make it not cause like a hitch. So let's go ahead and start it and allow it to generate the universe actor and the volume texture, which it just did, and then we can stop it. And we can trade this out for 64. Oh yeah, that's better for sure. That's the way.
So just say some medieval stuff, I reckon, and that should be good, right? Yeah.
And the nice thing is this is already scaled at the scale we need it to be. And spawning it is easier because it's just a mesh with a material on it, whereas like spawning spawning this from the perspective of a heterogeneous volume, it's like interacting with like the Unreal screen voxels, which has like some baked in max view distance limits and some other stuff. So like even though our raymarcher is not quite as efficient and it doesn't have all the same features, like it doesn't accept external lighting, which we might be able to figure out how to add by like hacking it together with some of the logic from the other shader. But the other shader is a volume shader, and this is not. This is just a um, composite alpha translucent shader. So
So a little bit 48 frames per second in 5K in 3D. And as a result of that,
but now, okay, so now that we have this, if we start this, we're going to get our stars, and they should, denser star portions should correspond to denser portions of this shader. Ignore the galaxy there. The only thing is we can't see everything. I wonder, can I attach at runtime? So if I take my universe actor, that's going to have a scene root. Can I attach this? Oh, okay, movable. So if I attach this,
you can see the wiggle line. You can see individual strands of hair. You know, you can see when a tree doesn't look right, when a rock is fake or a creature is CGI. All of those things kind of go away.
okay, it's not getting the.
They're not supposed to look like this.
Okay, so I think it's time to actually spawn and attach this. So let's look into that. So we just need a static mesh component at our header level, probably.
From the first scene that they arrive in, just Gandalf and his deadbeat mates just going up at Frodo's house.
Okay. How can I... Alright, hang on a second. I need to do something real quick. I will turn this off. Fill in some stuff right here real quick.
There's even a scene in the original Lord of the Rings when he's played by Andrew Dice Clay. It's insane. And Gandalf says to him, it's like, hey, it's like, I think you look like Mark Freeman. You know, it's like, oh, but it looks good for a fan. Exactly, don't get me wrong. But I'm okay with the recap. Martin Freeman is terrific. I think Ian McKellen is great.
Okay, just do that. Bear with me, please. Okay, looks good.
We forget about yeah, they just kind of some question the story of this. They're like, we have to get the Arkansas
And submit. Alright, that's taken care of. Fill out my timesheets and such. And let me do one more check. One more check against my work computer. All right, we're good. All done with work for the week. Time to chillax. Um. Okay. Next up, um, how can I spawn a static mesh via UE5 as a child element of an actor via UE5 C++?
I need to read this book because I remember the moment where Gandalf shows up and tells them they're going to eat everybody. And that's a fun little moment. And he's doing a bit of like throwing forces, making them argue against each other. And then as a result, they don't realize the sun's coming up. It tricks them into freezing in a very argumentative position. And we see that in
Mesh component. Some C.
There's a lot of just showing up after an action. So yeah, the Norse and Bilbo / Frodo got a spot the bomber. Yeah. And then nearly worked it out. Then he showed he's just hiding behind like a well, or something. That ties into the story as well. Because as a result of that,
Static mesh.
so when we come back to the next episode, I will have read it. And just to quickly get back to Gandalf, so in one time for the grenades, one moment he saps a boulder off a roof, and again in the original Lord of the Rings, he does magic with this book. Hey, you know what I mean?
Let's do a Google search. Spawn static mesh. Child of actor UE5 CPP. Okay, let's do that. Do 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 do.
Maybe he takes a potion out of his bag. Yeah, we see the dice rolls happen, etc. I want to know his level. Yes, exactly. I want to see. I want to see all this. I want to see all this equipment. I want to see all these various stat numbers. I don't want any vagueness whatsoever. Friends, look, if this movie were a smaller adventure.
Setting a new spawn in the world via CP. Nothing. You cannot believe something is. We task very simple to do. Critical sample. This is what I was basically looking for here. Huh. So this guy. Okay. Okay, and if I look at the static mesh I plan on using, it says it has proc size 100 x 100 x 100 when I inspect the static mesh. Does that mean if I wanted to have an actual world scale of in, let's say, 2 mil, I would need to multiply it by n over 100, or would setting scale to the exact number of it to be correct?
Here's something I love. I love Hobbit. Now, in the first movie, they rented this land from a local New Zealand farmer. They put temporary Samuel, they put
Okay.
temporary mountain structures in one.
Okay, that's what I thought. So,
Yeah, exactly. But that person wants that land. Peter Jackson style done.
so it would actually probably be easiest would be to go modeling mode, box 111, pivot location centered. Attributes, normals, invert normals. Then we have name unit box inverted normals, and then we can just delete this, take this unit box inverted normals, and it should be 100 times smaller, so it will be exactly the scale. Okay, yeah, there we go. And then okay, so I'll just create a version of the mesh. It is x1 base, and I can just set to the exact dimensions of the tree extent. Why do they do that? Why do they make their normal? I don't understand why you would not have all your baseline units in centimeters and then just increase the world. I mean, I guess they figure like a 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter box isn't super handy. But this is actually so. It's actually quite nice with the 64, and that's great because it's going to be more performant. While you're sampling a smaller texture. It's just more performant in all shapes and forms. Let's see. So Universe at the very least will do its samples at level 6. Because, okay, so at level 8, it's a 256 by 256 by 256. At level 7, it would be 128 by 128 by 128. And at level 6, it would be 64 by 64 by 64. So we sample the density at level 6 of the octree, which is going to give us a more, like, the bigger the, or the shallower the level you're sampling, the more like its scale is larger than the scale that you're actually inserting like the stars and such at. And then we can also potentially add for the universe only material like a shader that causes it to fade out past a certain distance as well. Um, because you wouldn't be able to see the gas cloud for like the entire universe at any given point, just a piece of it. So yeah, we still need to do some optimization, but sampling at 64 by 64 by 64 means we can do 64 steps without losing any detail. It's just like it makes everything very efficient, and it might be all we need for gas in any case. Like that might be what we do for galaxies as well. Galaxies is still something that I'm not sure about because like with Galaxy, we have good resolution on the X and Y axis, but not on the Z axis because we're only using like maybe 10% of the octree volume on the z-axis for the galaxy. So the clouds end up having not a ton of like z fidelity. And I've been thinking about like, is there a way to scale up just that axis samples? Like, we could sample 64 steps uh, from the middle at like a higher, at like a deeper depth or something, maybe. But for now, let's just focus on trying to get this to spawn in with the universe and have the material applied to it. It's kind of a shame the heterogeneous volume stuff didn't pan out. Even finding a way to increase the max draw distance, I couldn't get it to scale to the kind of scales I need it to scale to. I definitely think that there's a place for it. It's just that there's probably not a place for it in the galaxy or universe gas. We could use it for like a single nebula or something like that. But whatever it's used on would have to have its own parallax route, which is why I didn't want to use it. So, like, basically, because everything is virtually large, but is not actually, like, the unit scale of all our point clouds is centimeters. One unit in the octree is 1 centimeter all the time. So, the issue there is, like, yes, I have a heterogeneous volume nebula that actually looks really good, but it only scales up to like maybe 1,000 units before it starts to break down. So I would have to attach it to a different parallax route than its parent actor, and it would have to move independently as well. And that's not super intuitive. It's just like additional pain in the ass that we would have to do. Whereas with this object, I can spawn it in at the exact size of the universe octree, the exact size of the point cloud, overlapping it perfectly, and then it's just there in space, and we can attach it directly to our um, we can attach it directly to our root, our parallax root, and have it just inherit the same parallax as the parent particle system, and then we don't have to worry about all that. It's just like it does what it does. So we create a static mesh. Um, I need to look at the galaxy actor because that's gonna have the material setup code.
So they made two songs. They sound very different. They sound like two different things. But Red Hot Chili Peppers have two different songs. I don't know. They got the song that goes. The Sangras. The Sangras. But so anyway, to get back to the images, I don't understand why they didn't drop the like they didn't pick up the Lauren,
So we're gonna need all this. Okay. So and this would be Materials, raymarchers. MT volume raymarch instance.
You upset me. So upset everybody you're around. You upset your mother.
Now we need the static mesh.
Yeah, but the Eagles were like, oh, the Eagles have dropped us about 40 kilometres from where we were to there.
Use static mesh component. Yeah, like that. What do you mean? Okay. Everybody's happy now. Okay. Volumetric component is what we want to initialize. Like this. Universe actor. Oops. I accidentally added it to the galaxy actor, but that's fine. How do I build the mesh pointer? Okay, we need to do something before we do that. So this guy, we need to move this over to here. Okay, and then okay, that's fine. I'm working on spawning thick mesh component introduce the root component with material. I have this. static mesh from this and this instance. All right. SPO slash unit box inverted normals. All right, so I think that we just need to set this here. This do? Okay, this does return the texture. Okay. Something like this. And then okay. Now back over here. This. Okay, this. Is over here. Volume textures. Nope. Hang on. What did we need again? Oh, the parameter value on the material for that. Volume texture. And then we could. Yeah. Okay. So now, is this just gonna work? Surely not. We needed to attach to our root because the root is what the parallax gets applied to. That just always makes me fucking nervous. When you change a bunch of shit and then it works the first time, it is always sus. Alright, let's try it. I think it did work. I have to get rid of, hold on. Get rid of this. Okay, it didn't work. At least not visibly. Let's see what happened. Projector. So it didn't spawn it. I did get the Niagara stuff working again, so we can generate the texture, the volume texture, and Niagara. And probably, if I remove the write to disk, it would be substantially faster than it currently is, because we don't need to write these to a file. I mean, like the fade out ranges and swap ins need work, but we at least have our particle based version of it, which is still pretty cool. All right, so go to find an object. Oh, did I leave that off? No, that's the okay. Good, something went wrong, so now it might work. So if this works, we have volumetric gas, and we just have to propagate the same logic to galaxy actor. Um, then the only thing about galaxy actor, like I said, I need to find a way to increase just the Z resolution and just take a slice of it. Because like I could do the same number of samples, but at a higher resolution on the Z axis only. Like if I took it, okay, so if we're at level 6, 64, then if we sampled level 8 for Z, it would be a quarter of the total volume, I think. Half and a quarter. Yeah, 2 levels deeper would be a quarter of the volume on the Z axis. We could get denser slices that way for the galaxy. And then, did this ever build? And then that might fix the volume texture problem we have on the galaxy. And what we would actually end up doing then is like doing our raymarcher through the volume, but like a squashed Z volume, and then flattening it out like it wouldn't be a perfect cube. Um, all right, so I need to start the game. It worked. Now, does it move with the camera correctly? I think it is moving correctly. The oh my god, that's so fucking cool. We need higher we need higher density on the stars. So, what if we save this because this is sick? Wow, that was easy. Okay. And now that we have it, we can proceduralize it. Um, I mean, there's a lot of work. This is not close to complete right now, but okay. Volume spawning with parallax Baseline working. And then we need to go into our universe actor and increase some of our settings here. Um, well, for one thing, this should actually be a times two. So let's just see what that does. That effectively doubles the particle sizes. So, but that makes sense because like extent is like a radius. I think we need to be setting like a total size for the particle. And that should make our particles line up 1 to 1 with our bounding box volumes instead of being half the size. It takes a minute to do. Yeah, that helps. Oh yeah. Oh yeah, that's sick as hell. And we could even do like a quadrant based uh like post process effect to change the colors of things in different areas. But that's super duper cool. And we can use the same tech for our galaxies. We just got to do a little bit more work on it. Because, like I said, we're going to need to like capture slices on the z-axis that are more dense, put it into a square volume, but then squash the square down to like whatever percentage we're using. And if we do that, we will be able to get like a reasonably high density like, galaxy volume map, I think. That's pretty fucking sick. Holy shit, that's cool. Okay, so this is like the fucking way to go. The volume texture actually looks really good. It looks better than the stars with and there's your universe puffball. You can just see it. Like I said, we could also add like a distance fade. And we're going to be replacing this volumetric effect with the same raymarcher at a smaller scale. FPS is pretty good. This is super duper cool. I'm going to this small galaxy here. Why are you not spawning? Oh, well. Oh, I that was a galaxy star. So like we have to do the same proximity search we're doing in the universe. We have to do in galaxies, and like we will just spawn in actual star system objects at certain scales. But we're not there yet. And that at that point, that's where we connect bottom up with like the planet tech we built, and then you have like a universe of procedural galaxies with planets, procedural solar systems where you can like go down and land on the planets. And then the project would basically be complete at that point because that's what I was going for from the start. Pretty freaking cool. And actually, yep. Oh my god, that's fucking sick. So cool. There's your universe. So we're moving at like an intergalactic scale now.
So there was a bit of pushback with the fact that everybody else is doing this. So it was accepted at the time. So the best way, the best way. I won't done the best way. That's right. Because you're a brother who might do it. It's good. You'll go somewhere else. And then all of the other ones, yeah, it's everything. So right instead of we wanted to make this right. And we actually worked for Merrill Lynch, which is this really
And it works perfectly at scale too, which is great. I think we might be off center. Well, no, I mean, probably not. And having that bit of ambient like stops a lot of like flickering artifacts with the stars too. It's pretty cool. So if you were on the edge of the universe, you just see like I'm out of the zone of stars now. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is 1 to 1 with our star field. That is so freaking cool. I'm fucking Z locked. Oh, yeah, I stopped using the light vector, right? So optimization still needs to happen. Where'd it go? Oh, there it is. Yeah, and now like that was actually a really good example of our scaling is dead on because I just saw the overlap for a second. Yeah, so now it's exactly like the particle scale is exactly the same scale as the underlying galaxy. Or, yeah, that's perfect. So when it comes time to build like an imposter sprite system or something like that, where like we could load in a different sprite when it's close to the camera or something. Galaxy's gonna be fucking sick when we get the volumetrics working. And then we can also do like, okay, and maybe not that.
So to bring more of him to the forefront, it's nice. I don't know if they did that, but it looks like the way that how occasionally look at the same guy or it just looks different. This looks way too different than the others. I don't. It looks like some kind of.
All right, now the real test. We need to. So this one, save this. We need to change seeds and see if it works. Oh, and we need to take out the saving. We don't need to save this at all, and that's going to speed up a lot. So, universe actor, that's what we can do right now. Go here, go to definition. Volume texture. Let's create a version of this that doesn't save it. All right. I need a version of this just creates and returns the texture, no saving to disk. Okay. This, paste this. It's gonna be upset. Something like that. And actually, we don't need to assign this to anything. You just pass it straight in. Okay. And now think it needs to be that. And then, so now we're not saving it anymore. We just initialize, create the texture from an octree with that resolution. This is going to spit out a volume texture. We initialize the volume texture here, set it up. Okay. So this should be hopefully a big performance improvement at the start. It's going to need to be because we have to do it for galaxies too, and that's going to be slow. This is going to slow down our already slow galaxy generation. Like that whole process is going to have to be optimized somehow. Yeah, dude, I got the fucking parallax volumetric movement working now, dude, with the raymarcher. So like that method of raymarching is sick. So you need to make a unit box, so a one by one by one box mesh with a centered pivot and inverted normals, and you save that, and then that's your ray marching volume, and then you can just do box intersects to get your entry points, and there's like some built-in stuff that will give you like a nice intersect to work with, and you just ray march in that volume, and it works really good. Okay, here we go. No saving. Yep, there it is. Just works right off the bat. And like I'm gonna add this, the base universe color here. What I'm probably gonna do is add like a position based tint and just render the background clouds in like gray, shades of gray, and then let the area of the universe you're in like tint the gas, and then we could get variants as we like move around through it instead of just two colors. But if I go towards high density areas of gas, that should also be high densities of stars or galaxies, I guess. I'm pretty happy with the volumetric solution we've got here. I need to refine it now and like do code cleanup and such, and then we need to give the same treatment to the galaxies because right now they're still just using the particle system and it's really, really, really inefficient. Um, yeah. So like our ray marcher is still not great, but it's not terrible. But the universe system is pretty bad. All right, well, I'm going to start cleaning this up and probably bash on this for a bit. I'm going on mute though.